Alright. Hello everybody, I'm doing this video right after part 2. So, this is where we left off. Hopefully you're doing this kind of like step by step. Yeah. I don't know how to dance for a second. So, continuing right from the point, just a reminder, make sure you have your helmet, make sure it still fits and everything, just in case you're doing fits and bursts of videos. Make sure it still fits, make sure you have your helmet, make sure you have your cardboard and the strip that we cut out. Scissors or an X-Acto knife or any kind of cutting, like cardboard knife thing. Writing utensil, or again, you can even use a knife to do markings. But whenever you get to the helmet, you really don't want to be doing that. Glue gun that's preheated on low temp, and a lot of glue guns, and your picture. Don't forget your picture. All right. I know, even though I'm showing you how to do this, just make sure you have a picture just in case if this doesn't turn out quite right, you know what to fix. So where we left off is where we were making the lip. And try and make as few bends as possible. It can all kind of bend, but make sure that there's only a few actual big bends. Try and make it to where there's 3 points. So here's one bend, here's another bend, and then here's another. Okay? So make a bend like this. So there's a flat surface on top, there's one flat on the right side, on my right, and then there's two on this side. And then this is the piece that you're going to be gluing on. Alright. Actually, you know what? Yeah, stick with what I said. And now you can cut it to size and everything. Make sure it's about this thick. Make sure that whenever it's curved, it's perfect. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and cut mine to size real quick. Also, give it a little bit of slack because we're going to be curving it the opposite way too, and I'll show you how to do that. Keep these. There's a lot more curves on this. So, like I said, on the third curve, approximate it. And, alright, so, try and make it to where there's only 3 panels. So, I made mine a little bit too big. So, make sure now it does this. So, whenever you close it all up, it looks like a triangular prism. Okay? And take the middle flap and glue it on. And make sure it's very good approximate. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to make these chin lips. Because then, otherwise it'll look like your tractor or something. Alright, so you also want to measure it out and line it up with a line from the actual big piece. From the big piece to the guard right here. So make sure you line it up just right. Same thing on the other side. And then you can cut those off, but keep those, okay? Keep both sides. Alright, so this is the main part that we're actually going to be gluing on here. Okay? So make sure it all fits properly. Need to... There we go. Perfect. Alright, so now we can put some glue on here. Alright, so I like to do this kind of checkerboard pattern. I don't know if you can quite see that. But you always want to put one dab on all the corners, and then 2 towards the middle on the sides, and then 2 in the middle. And then you can glue it on just right. And if it doesn't work the first time, you can always rip it off, but you're kind of limited to how many times you can rip it off in a sense. So, this is what you'll have. This is going to look way better, trust me. Because we're also going to make the detail for the eyes and everything. So after we're done with this, we're not going to worry about making the bridge. We're going to make sure that the top is all set, and then we can do the bottom. Okay? Alright. So going good so far. So, now, before we make these curves, we want to make the lip up here. So, put aside these extra curve pieces that you have, and if you have any extra strips of cardboard or something, use those and make a small strip for your lip. There we go. Sorry. So, actually, yeah, do that. Another thing for the top lip, before you glue anything, make sure it kind of curves down, because this kind of stays up and it goes over a little bit, but we're going to paint that on this a little bit, but this kind of goes down on each side, so kind of make sure that you get a little bit of a rounded slot out like this. Alright, so now you can take your strip, make sure that it fits, and bend it a lot too. Because whenever it's glued in, then it'll be sturdy but bent. I need to cut mine a little bit more. And this part is one of those parts that you really need to be precise. Usually you don't need too much, but this is one of those times that you really need precision on your hand. Alright, so now that you get the strip perfect, don't glue it. Put it to the side to where it's recognizable, okay? Mark it, do whatever. Now we can get the sides done. The sides only come around, so about whatever was left over, it should be about this much. We can curve it around, and we can put fillers in a sec. So line up the lines and everything, and we'll fill it in by, here, I'll get closer so I can show you. So what you need to do is, if you just put it next to each other like this, you can see that there's gaps. So if you overlap it a little bit, you can see that it's fully in. So what you need to do is know where the lines are, and then you can trace it out, so then whenever you cut it, it'll be perfect. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm also going to re-glue this flat because it decided to come off. Good. So I approximated how big this is going to be. So now whenever I actually put it on, it's just about perfect. See? There's less gap. Another thing is, make sure that your line matches up, so whenever you're doing your curve, it goes with this too. So I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, the bottom also does this kind of round thing, so before we finish, this does the same curve. It doesn't go down, it goes up. Because on the bottom lip, this is the part, on the bottom is where it's going to curve. The top is going to do the upper curve. So kind of cut a basic triangle out, so then you can curve it, just like that. Alright, you can make that as short as you want. Just don't make it too big, because if it's too noticeable, then it's going to look a little weird. So this whole bottom flap isn't going to be painted gray. We're actually going to put a little bit of texture on here. And actually on this bottom part, we're going to make a, we're going to get a two-flapped piece, and we're going to curve it all the way around. So we're going to get one piece of cardboard and put it on this middle section right here, come all the way around, and then we're going to take the same piece right here and curve it all the way around. So that's another reason why I didn't want you gluing the flap on just yet. So So now you can glue this piece on. And don't redraw this and put it on the other side, because the other side might be cut a little differently. So we have to do the same process on the other side. So on this, right here, I want you to cut the bottom flap off. Because what we're going to do is this bottom flap is already going to kind of curve. So take off the bottom flap, but keep it, okay? Put it with this other strap that you have. And now you can just glue this on how you were going to put it on earlier. Alright? It's actually kind of looking good so far, the bottom of it at least. So now that this side is glued on, now you can take the other side and do the same thing that I already told you. So I'm going to pause it, and I'll do this other side, and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is what we have so far. And I think the bottom half is looking pretty good. I also trimmed this up a little bit. I trimmed the bottom to make it look a little bit more authentic. I didn't really do anything else without telling you guys, so I just trimmed the chin up really. So now what we can do is we can do the flap. Yeah. Okay. So on these pieces right here, go up. So kind of cut like a jaw kind of piece out. So something like that. Okay. There we go. So now we can kind of make a strip that comes from the bottom of here up to this actual main piece. So we can actually make sure that it all looks not two-dimensional. So we can go ahead and cut out a strip right now. This is going on from the top right here. We're not making any depth on the bottom just yet. So make sure it matches up with the bottom for a little bit. Make sure it matches up on this bottom, and then it will just kind of curve all the way around to the top. Then you can glue that little itty bitty piece in, and it'll be part of the strap whenever we paint it all. And whenever you cut the piece at that angle, you can take it and then you can keep, with this point closest to the little tiny bit, you can keep going and it'll still have that basic shape. So now you can curve it around and glue it. Whoop. So it looks like that. I'm getting there. And then you do the same to the other side. Alright, so now that you have the two strips done, let me just glue this last piece down and we'll be done. Alrighty. Alright, so now that you have both of the strips done, now we got this basic piece done. So now, we can take the strip, it goes right here in the main piece, and come all the way around. So, get a nice big strip. Bend it. And then making sure that it goes all the way around. Then you just glue it and cut it to where it will actually fit. part's kind of tricky, so take your time. There we go. Alright. So you want to glue the main big piece on first. Remember the four corners, and then the middles. You can do the rest of the edges. So, now that you have this done, I'm sorry I should have paused all that. Alright. Now that you got the middle strip done, if it doesn't want to stay, just kind of vagabonding. Alright. There we go. So now I'm going to let that kind of dry, but now we just need to get this piece done. I'll come back to you whenever I get that one finished. Alright. So I got that part done. So that should look just about right. So now, with this part, we can get to the eye holes. We're not going to worry about the lip just yet. So from what it seems like, we need to cut down. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and mark everything out. There we go. So, this is how you're going to need to mark it. And cut those out. This is going to be a bad. There we go. Okay, never mind. We're good. Alright. So now if you had to rip those off, you can re-glue them. Like what mine kind of did. Alright. Oh. Bottom half is actually starting to look like it now, huh? So this is what we're having to worry about, is the top. Because again, I wanted to try and get the face done first, so then we can worry about the rest of the helmet. So it comes up, point. Alright. So, whenever you put the helmet on, sorry, I'm a little close. So I made this a bit low for me. Oh, let me get the hair out of the way. So I made this a bit low for me, but what you need to do is, I guess it doesn't look too bad. Go down to your eyebrows. So get this up a little bit, and then go down to your eyebrows, okay? Go ahead and get a strip going. If it's already down to your eyebrows, it's perfect. Just make sure it's not extremely low. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for me. I'll be right back. Alright. Sorry, I'm a little messy. I'm trying to put the helmet on. So the face is going to sit a little bit lower than the actual helmet, but that's okay because of the spike that we're going to have to make and how big the head's going to be. So after you get that done, cut out a shape like this. And then you can put it in the middle, right about here. So it'll look a little bit more. So whenever I glue it, I'll show you. Just cut out that piece and then put it towards the middle and glue it on. Alright. Here we go. There, see? It's actually starting to look like it. And this whole big cone thing is going to be part of the spike, alright? Because our head's going to be kind of forward into it, and there's going to be more back here. It's kind of weird. Alright, so, now that that's over with, and it's going to look a little skinny right now because there we go. Alright. See? It's going to look a little skinny right now because we don't have the big bulky things that go right here, and because of the waves. Alright, so now that that is over with, you can cut it to look a little bit more like it if you want. I'm just going to leave it like this because I don't want to ruin my my helmet. So if there's any holes, you can fill them up real quick. I have a hole. I'm going to fill up real quick. Alright, so now that that is over with, now we can put the lip on. I'm going to show you, in a sense, how to do it. It's not that hard. You just have to get a strip and go over it. It's just not that hard. I apologize for you guys needing so much patience, but it is coming out. So, of course, you can bend your strip and you can put it over, or you can use the strip that you already cut out tab right here that I forgot to use, but whatever. And then you can cut it to the length, and we're going to make 3 strips, of course. There we go. Alright, now you can go ahead and glue that on. Really cool. Again, it's not going to look perfect. I mean, mine's definitely not coming out perfect right now, but it's going to look pretty close, and it's going to look cool. So, depending on how much pride you have, if you don't feel like working around in this thing, then you shouldn't be making it. Alright, so now I can make a smaller strip. I promise you, I will be walking around in this if it turns out well. It turns out half as good as my Master Chief one. I'm definitely going to be wearing it around. Not that it's the best or anything, it's just, it looks good. I'm really pleased with how it came out. That strip on. You don't need a ton of glue to adhere it down. Alright, so now I can get the other side of this the piece, and I'm good with the side. I'm going to show you how this lip turned out. I'm not done with the other side, of course, but I'll show you anyways. I personally think it's looking just fine. And it's going to look a little weird at the bottom at first anyways, because you're going to see this as one piece, but whenever we get painted, that's what you're actually going to be looking at. It's going to look nice. So, there's the lip and the finished side. I just need to get the other side done. And trust me, the top is where all the paz is. So, paz, whatever word you like. I'm almost done with this side of the lip. Alrighty, this is looking pretty good so far, if I can say so myself. There we go. So, now that we got that part done, we can either, let me check how much time I have on this. Wow, alright. I went a little past my time, so the next part, I'll figure out which one we're going to be doing first, either this or the big stuff. Yeah, we'll be doing these pieces first, so see you later.